can't believe it.
Oh my gosh, he has teeth or something in there.
All right, I want to welcome you to BTR Outdoors. And on this episode, I'm going to show you how to change out the inner tube of your front tire for your bicycle. This is probably the most easiest tire to change. So we'll start with that one. Then I'll probably do another video on how to change the tube out of the back tire. That's a little bit more complicated. All right, so stay tuned and let's get this thing started. All right, so the things you're gonna need is a little air pump. Got these little levers that help it take the tire off and put it back on. These come in very handy. I'll tell you what the real name of them is. I'll put that in the description and on the video because I can't remember what it is. Here's the tube, a 29-inch tube. And I think this is a Goodyear. And it has the Presta valve, which make sure you have a pump that will, that one right there, will pump up or put air into a Presta valve. All right, let's get this tire off this rim. All right, first thing I'm going to do is remove this cap. Make sure all the air out is. Make sure all the air is out of the tire, which you can tell right here it is. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little lever. I got two of them where I can go down. There we go, look at that. I'm using this side of this little lever. Look how easy that is. Alright, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to do the same thing. I do it just with this one. Yep. Pull the valve cap through. There's your rim. I really don't know why this one kept going flat, but every time I'd air it up, it'd always go flat. So this is a regular stem, and then the one we're putting on is a, what do I call it? It's going to be a Presta valve. All right. Put this over to the side. I'll check it later to make sure there's see if there's any holes in it or if I can patch it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the inside of the tire. Just kind of feel around, make sure there's anything sharp in there. Like I said, this is a 29-inch tire. I'm going to do the same thing with the rim. I'm also going to look. Make sure there's nothing sharp. It's going to put a hole in my new tire. All right. All right, I'm going to put a little bit of air in here, just so it's a little bit easier to work with. Let's see. Okay, that should be enough. Oops. And I'm going to put this tube in the tire. inflating it helps it just pop in here a little bit easier if it was deflated. Alright, we got it in there. Let's get a rim. First thing I'm going to do is line it up with the valve stem. Now where's that bad boy? There we go. Take this, does this cap come on? Yeah. Okay. Push that valve stem through. Put this little nut back on here. I guess we can adjust that. Like I said, I don't know if I said this or not, but I've never used one of this Presta valves. So I think you can adjust the length of it just by turning this little nut. Alright, let's get this tire back on. I'm going to put it on by hand as much as I can. Turn over this way. Make sure I get this thing in there and seated properly. Be sure not to pinch your tube, because it ain't gonna do no good if you poke a hole in it. Just do a little bit at a time. Alright. Alright. Okay, this can take a 40 psi of pressure in this tire. I'm just checking to make sure everything is seated good. And let's put a little bit of air in there and get everything popped in place. Let's get this thing up. It's got about 20 psi of pressure in there. Okay. What I'm going to do is tighten up this valve. Alright. Next thing I'm going to do is finish pumping it up the rest of the way. About right at 40. Got a little room. Alright. Tighten that down. I'm going to go ahead and finish tightening up this little nut just to get it secured to the rim. And just remember, if you use kind of these Presta valves, make sure you have a air pump that will pump it up. I got real lucky by having one, but you got to have a little smaller hose one for the valve. All right, and what we're going to do is there's some arrows that kind of tell us how to put the tire back on the bicycle. So let's get that going and get it tightened up. All right, we're going to slide the tire down on here. If you see these little this little metal piece, it goes right up next to the bolt, and that little part right here is going to click in this little hole down here. So I'm going to make sure both sides are good. All right, so this is what I was talking about. It slides down in there into that little hole right there. Once that's in place, you put your nut back on. Get a good hand tight. You want to make sure the other side is the same way. Make sure everything's popped in place, because the last thing you want is that you don't want is your wheel coming off. So let me get my 5/8 wrench and we'll tighten this thing up. All right. I just realized I was using the wrong wrench. You're supposed to use a 15mm. Oh my goodness, that works so much better. Everything works better when you use the right tool. So make sure that's tight. Remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Make sure everything's popped in place the way it is. Like I said, the last thing you don't want is to have this wheel come off on when you're riding. Just kind of checking the balance. I don't want any kind of wobble. It's looking pretty good. There's a look at the Presta valve. Hope I'm saying that right. And you just tighten that nut up against the rim, and that keeps it in place. And you can tighten up this little front end to lock in the air, or take it off and push down on it and lets the air out. Unscrew it. Screw it back on to tighten it. Make sure this is tied up against the rim. And there you go. Alright, I want to thank everybody for watching the video. I just want to say thank you for all the comments I've been getting on my other videos. As always, hit that subscribe button. That really helps my channel out. I'm trying to hit that 1,000 subscribers. So hit that like button. And like I said, leave a comment anytime you want to, and I'll answer it. All right, y'all have a good one. And until next video, I'll catch you later.